Okay, I'm back. It only been a couple of minutes. I was just not really doing nothing, but this. Here we go. So you can see the drawing. The drawing. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's the next page. Left and right brain realities. Um, there's one more component of this picture. I'll be spending perhaps half of our time on the left brain information, like geometries and facts and all kinds of information to many spiritual people would seem totally unimportant. I'll do this because when we fall, we divided ourselves into two, really three, but primarily into two main components, which we call male and female. Ooh, don't say that. No, we just said it. Okay, the right brain, which controls the left side of our body, is our feminine component. Through it, truly neither male nor female. There is where our psyche and emotional aspects lives. This component knows that there only one God and that oneness is all there is. Though it can't really explain it, it just knows the truth. So there are not a lot of problems with the female component. The problem is on the left side of the brain, the male component, because of the nature of how the male brain is orientated, a mirror image of the female. It has its logical component forward, more dominant, while the female has its logical component towards the back, less dominant. The left brain does not experience oneness when it looks out into reality. All it sees is division and separation. For that reason, the male aspect of us is having a difficult time down here on earth. Even our major scared books, such as the Quran, the Hebrew Bible, and the Christian Bible, have divided everything's into opposites. The left brain experiences that there is God, but then there also the devil. Perhaps not quite as strong as God, but a huge influence. So even God is seen in terms of duality as one pole of the opposing forces of dark and light. This is not true in all aspects of these religions, and a few of them see that there is only God. Until the left brain is able to see the unity running through everything, to know that there is truly one spirit, one force, one consciousness moving through absolute everything in existence, until it's known that unity beyond any doubt, then the mind is going to stay separated from itself, from its wholeness, and from the fullness of its potential. Even if there's the slightest doubt at all about unity, the left brain aspect will hold us back and we can no longer walk on water. Remember when Thomas walked on water for a short moment when Jesus asked him to, but one little cell in his big toe said, "Wait a minute, I can't do this," and Thomas sank into the cold water of polarity reality. Superhuman? If he did it physically, like he was trying to show him, Like, we were going with this information. Where we're going with this information. I'm dedicating a lot of time to showing you beyond any shadow of a doubt that there is only one image in everything. There is one and only one image that created all that exists, and that image is the same image that has formed the electromagnetic field around your body. The same geometries that are in your field can be found around everything, planets and galaxies, atoms, and everything else. We will examine this image in great detail. We're also going to go into a history of the earth because it is very important to our present situation. We cannot really understand how we got here if we don't know the process that led us to this point. So we'll spend a considerable length of time about what happened a long time ago. Then slowly we'll move forward until we get to what's going on today. It's all tied together. The same old things have been going on all along, and it's still going on. In fact, it is never stopped. It has never stopped. Those of you who are prominently right brain may feel inclined skip this left brain material, yet it is important for you to hang in there. It is through balance that spiritual health returns. When the left brain sees absolute unity, it begins to relax, and corpus callosums, corpus callosums, okay, the band of fibers joining the two hemispheres, opens in a new way, allowing an integration between the two sides. The link between the left and the right brain widens, and flow starts. Information is passed back and forth, and the opposite sides of the brain begin to integrate and synchronize with each other. This is like the gateway hemisphere. I have listened to the audio tapes, and the channel I'm going to put is the guy that does all that stuff too. If you were hooked up for biofeedback, you can actually see this happening. This action turns on the pineal gland in a different manner and makes it possible for meditation to activate the light body, Merkaba. Then the whole process of regeneration and recovery of our previous higher levels of consciousness can proceed. It is growth process. If you are studying any other spiritual practice, you do not need to stop in order to begin the work of Merkaba, unless, of course, your teacher does not want to mix traditions. Other meditations that are based on truth can be extremely useful once the Merkaba is spinning, because then noticeable results can evolve very, very quickly. I will repeat myself just so you know for sure. The light body of the Merkaba does not contradict or inhibit any other meditation or religion that upholds that belief that there is only one God. So far, we talked about the ABC of spirituality are just the beginning steps. But these first steps, are the most important ones I know. Your left brain may love all this information and file it away in a neatly labeled PG on holes. This is fine. Or you can just relax and read like this: an adventure story, a mind scratcher, a fantasy. However you read it, the fact that you are reading this book is what matters, and you will receive whatever you're meant to receive. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read it really good for you guys, and I hope you guys receive the message. But I know not a lot of people read, and I don't know if that's a thing anymore. But when I go to sleep, I hear the audios of the Emerald tablets, and very interesting. But you know the book's called, and you guys can easily order this and read it at your own time. And it's very good. In the spirit of oneness, then let us embark upon this journey of exploration together, challenging the belief patterns of our parents. Okay. Many ideas we believe today and facts we've been taught in school are just not true, and people are now beginning to realize this worldwide. Of course, usually these patterns were believed to be true at the time they were taught, but then concepts and ideas changed, and the next generation was taught different truths. For example, the concepts of the atom has changed dramatically so many times over the last 90 years that at this point they don't really adhere to a concept. They use one, but with the understanding that it may be wrong. But yeah, here's we're gonna get into some anomalies. At one time, the atom was taught to be like a watermelon, and the electron were like seeds inside the watermelon. We really know very little about the reality that exists around us. Quantum physics has now shown us that the person performing the experience influences the outcome. In other words, consciousness can change the outcome of an experiment depending on its belief patterns. So if you're witnessing an experience, and maybe like the Elon Musk rocket, maybe people wanted it to blow up, and say like everyone's like, man, I hope that shit blows up, and all the fucking haters, and then the energy consciousness, just the electromagnetic field, just, and then people like focus all the energy together, then they can like take down planes and devices, because it's like 11. There are other aspects of ourselves we hold true that may not be true at all. One idea that has been held for a long time is that we're the only planet in existence with life on it. In our hearts of hearts, we know this is not true, but this planet will not admit the truth in modern times, even though there is powerful evidence of UFO sightings that have been coming from all over the world nonstop for over 50 years. Any subject other than UFOs would have been believed and accepted by the world had this subject not been so threatening. Therefore, we're going to look at evidence that suggests there is a higher consciousness in the universe, not only in the stars, but perhaps right here on Earth. As a side note, I suggest that you see 2 videos aired on NBC television as a special hosted by Charleston Hanson, The Mysteries, Origins of Man, and The Mystery of the Sphinx. Both are distributed by BC Video at 1-800-508-0558. Come again, 1-800-508-0558. I think I've seen that one too. I think I know what you're talking about. And it popped up on my YouTube like an old throwback. But see, back in the days, that's how they were brainwashing too, with the TVs, the wooden TVs, the big block TVs. And they were like putting all the brain frequencies, like people and like transmitters, like frequency devices in the televisions, and they're also like putting the programming, for the Generation X. Okay, so we're gonna go on. See, and the Dogon, I was talking to this guy too about the Dogon, but here we go. Gathering the anomalies. The Dogon tribe, Sirius B and dolphin beings. That's what I was talking about in my last videos. The dolphin people, the mermaids, like where these creatures came from. People, entities, human, not like, different species of life. Okay. In this drawing, Fig 1-3 is truly remarkable. The information in it came from a book about Sirius, The Sirius Mystery by Robert Temple. He had, I was told, between 10 and 12 different subjects to choose from, each one of which would lead us to the same conclusion, but from a totally different point of view. I'm glad he chose the one he did, because it happens to relate to another aspect of what we will be talking about. Let's show you. Dogon. Okay. These amphibious beings, like aquatic, like mermaid type little creatures. They're like beep beep boop 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 beep beep boop. So here we go. Robert Temple was one of the first people to reveal certain facts through scientists have known for a long time about an African tribe near Timbuktu called the Dogons. Yeah, I've been seeing this Dogon tribe since I was a little kid, and they have a lot of information. I seen this documentary that these Europeans came in, or English, British, they came in, and they did a whole documentary on them, and they were showing them in their cave, like the solar system. They're like, how do you know? They're like, the Anu, yeah, I think the Nomo, Yeah, I think the Anu is the other ones. The Nomo. So the Nomos, these are like the Nomos, and Nomos kind of sounds like in Spanish, like Latin monitos, like monos, like dolls. You know, they kind of look like little. Like if you show a little kid this thing, make it into a fluffy, he'll be like, "Oh my god, that's so cute." I don't know, but like, here we go. So these aquatic beings. Okay. Okay, so I stop right here. Okay. This tribe holds information that is truly simply impossible for them to have by any other standards in our view of our world today. Their information destroys everything we think we know about ourselves in regard to being alone. You see, the Dogons have a cave on their land that stretches way back into the mountains, and in this cave we are our wall drawings over 700 years old. See, that's the cave I was just. I seen the documentary, like the old one and the new ones, where they go and they still go, and the guy guards the little post. It's like a mud like kind of building, and there's like some knowledge in there, but like very wise person has to guard the post. One particular man, the holy man of their tribe, sits at the front of this cave to protect it. This is his lifetime job. They feed him and take care of him, but no one can touch him or get close to him. When he dies, another holy man takes his place. In this cave are amazing drawings and bits of information. Yeah, see, this is like I seen a cave they showed. I don't know if it's the same, but there was a building they showed, and it was like connected like a cave too. But yeah, it was like they take care of them. They don't they can't come out basically. They're like virgins. They're like, you know, like monks, you know, and they guard their information. There's some information, but you know, we know a little what they give us, but there's probably some who knows what's in there, you know. Shoot, I can only imagine some cool stuff. I'm going to tell you about I'm going to tell you about two of these bits, and these are only two of many. First of all, we are referring to the brightest star in the sky with an apparent magnitude of 1.4 Sirius, now called Sirius A. If you look at Orion's belt, those three stars in a row, and follow the line downwards to your left, you see a very bright star which is Sirius A. If you follow them upwards about two distances, you'll see the Pleiades. The information in the Dogon cave specifically showed another star rotating around Sirius. The Dogon are very specific about this star. They say it's very, very old and very small, and that it's made out of what they call the heaviest metal in the universe, which is close but not accurately correct. And they say that it takes close to 50 years for this smaller star to rotate around Sirius. This is detailed stuff. Astronomers were able to validate the existence of Sirius B, a white dwarf, in 1862, and only about 50 or 20 years ago could they validate the information. See, these astronomers in 1856, they knew it was out there, but they didn't, you know, like these people had the information way longer, 700 years ago, the cave, you know, when they came, and why you think a lot of the pyramids around the world are all connected to Orion's belt, because there's stories, countless of stories. This is not just the first one. There's in Egypt, the king that came down from the teleported. Basically, all those places were teleportation to the planets, you know, to the galaxies, and their conduits, and these people would travel through, and something happened. You know, they're all broken now, so maybe they're trying to build better ones, smaller ones, like micro, nano, quantum teleportation machines, just like China built. They sent that information. So they're working on the time machines too, because eventually they're going to go to Mars, they're going to build the stargates, and then they're going to start sending people that way or flying there, whichever, however much units you have, Bitcoin. Now, stars are very much like people, as you will begin to see. They're alive, and they have personalities and many qualities like we have. On a specific scientific level, they have growth stages. They start out as hydrogen suns like ours, where two hydrogen atoms come together in a fusion reaction to form helium. This process creates all life and light that on this planet, and life and light that's on this planet. Okay. This is the figures I showed you right here. The These are Dogon drawings. Dogon drawings of Nomu, the great culture hero who brought civilization to Earth. Because both eyes are shown in the drawing, they are presumed to be plain views, which means the trail is supposed like a dolphin rather than lateral, as it is with a fish. The water line is clearly indicated, implementing that the Nomo is air breathing. This drawing came out of Australian magazine Simply Living. See, yeah, because they're coming out like they're like 3 dimensional, like a little person popping their head out. They're like beep 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 beep. So they came, and when I read this book years ago, but in 2015, see, I need to publish, or if I tell you these dreams, they're probably whatever. You know, people are gonna use them for stories. Who knows? Who cares? But I need to like copyright it. Stupid. But here we go. Look. Should I stop right now? Should I keep going? Oh no, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna read, and probably take another break and do another part. So probably like 4 parts. Update: a magnet plus star has been discovered only recently. It is a neutron star that rotates about 200 times per second, generating an enormous magnetic field. Scientists detected on August 27, 1998, what they described as a star quake. Their instruments picked up radio waves from SGR 1900 plus 4. The radiation overwhelmed gamma ray detectors on 7 spacecrafts, causing 2 to shut down, including the near Earth asteroid rendezvous near spacecraft. What? Okay. As a star further matures, another fusion process begins, the helium process, where 3 helium atoms come together to form carbon. This growth process continues through various stages until it gets all the way up through a particular level of the atomic table, at which point the star has reached the length of its lifespan. At the end of its lifespan, as far as we know, there are 2 primary things a star can do. New data on pulsars and magnetars give other options. 1. It can explode and become a supernova, a huge hydrogen cloud that becomes the womb for thousands of new baby stars. 2. It can rapidly expand into what's called a red giant, a huge explosion that engulfs all its planets, burns them up, and destroys the whole system, then stays expanded for a long time. Then slowly it will collapse into a tiny old star called a white dwarf. What the scientists found rotating around Ceres was a white dwarf, which corresponds exactly to what the Dogons say. Then scientists checked to see how much it weighed, to see if it really was the heaviest matter in the universe. The original computations made about 20 years ago determined that it weighed about 2,000 pounds per cubic inch. That would certainly qualify for a heavy matter, but scientists knows that this was an extremely conservative estimate. The newest estimate is approximately 1 million tons per cubic inch. Black holes aside, that would severely seem to be the heaviest matter in the universe. This means that if you had a cubic inch of this white dwarf, which is now called Series B, it would weigh about 1.5 million tons, which would go right through anything you sit on. It would head towards the center of the Earth and actually oscillate back and forth across the core for a long time until friction finally stopped it and it in the very center. In addition, when they checked the rotation patterns of Series B around the larger Series A, they found it to be 50.1 years. Now, that's absolutely could not be coincidence. It's too close, too fractal. Yet, how did an ancient primitive tribe know such detailed information about a star that could be measured only in this century? They had it because the Nomu came, and if you watch your documentary, the tribes people and the people in their stories, like they say, they came and they taught them the solar system, the Nomu, and they were like aquatic beings and stuff like that. Okay, but in that is only one part of their information. They also know about all the other planets in our solar system, including Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus, which we have discovered more recently. They knew exactly what these planets look like when you approach them from space, even which we have also only recently learned. They also knew about red and white blood cells and had all kinds of psychological information about the human body that we've recently learned. All this from a primitive tribe! Exclamation. Yeah, see, they came. That there's like many, you know, indigenous people all over the world, that different aliens from different galaxies and universes and dimensions, who freaking knows, but they have came and they have taught certain tribes and showed them certain things, and these traditions been passed down for thousands of years, and they might sound crazy to you, but some people, like really believe it. Like, I think it's true. I think, we're not the only planet, where there's other planets with life forms, like, so, naturally, a scientific team was sent over to ask the Dogons how they knew all this. Well, that was probably a big mistake for these researchers, because they accepted that the Dogons really have this information. Then, by default, they must accept how they got it. When they asked, "How did you learn this?" the Dogons replied that the drawings on the walls of their cave showed them. These drawings show a flying saucer. It looks just like that very familiar shape coming out of the sky and landing on three legs. Maybe UFOs are like aquatic, like kind of like a water spaceships, because if water is like so fluid, thank you, water, I love you, water, thank you. Keep me young and fluid and limber and have memory and be fluid like you. So what about if like a spaceship is just like a droplet, like some kind of like gel shell where you like go in it and like who knows, and it's just like thermal protection. It's like a goo or some kind of nanotech, synthetic nanotech. Okay, next page. Then it shows the beings in the ship making a big hole in the ground, filling it with water, jumping out of the ship into the water and coming up to the edge of the water. These beings look very much like dolphins. In fact, maybe we're dolphins. They were dolphins, but we don't know for certain. Then they started communicating to the Dogon. They described where they came from and gave the Dogon tribe all this information. That's what the Dogon said. The scientists just sat there. Eventually they said, "Nope, we didn't hear that." Yeah. See? Like, okay. Because it didn't fit into anything they thought they knew. They just kind of hid the information somewhere under a carpet in their minds. Most people, scientists included, just do not know what to do with these kinds of facts. There has been a lot of information like this that we don't know what to do with, since we can't find a way to generate this unusual information with what we already think we know. We just stick it away somewhere because the theories don't work. We keep it if we keep it. Yeah, because people like would be like, "Okay, you guys are crazy," but like then you gotta be, well, how did they know it? Well, how? Then you gotta be like, then this story is just like one in many stories all across the world, in Samaria too, where that guy, and I'm sure he's in here too because I seen him, and he came out of the water. Yeah, he came out of the water too. Yeah, he's right here. Came out of the water, and but basically, I had dreams. Yeah, in 2015, I had a crazy dream, but I can read that story later. So we're going on 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So I'm going to read the rest of this and I'm going to stop. And then I don't know if I'm going to edit the videos. I'm just going to put them raw. And if you guys want to see them, you can see them. You know, because if I do edit them, it's going to take like another like hours and hours. And I want to add all these little graphics. And so just use your imagination for now. Okay. Here's another thing that Dogons knew. The little drawings was on the walls, figure 1 through 4, but the scientists didn't know what the heck it was until computers calculated the orbits of Sirius A and Sirius B as seen from Earth. These patterns shown in the Dogon cave is identical to the patterns made by Sirius B moving around Sirius A in a specific time frame, which happens to be from the year 1912 to the year 1990. The dolphins, or whoever those beings were, gave this present day diagram time pattern to the Dogon at least 700 years ago. Now, this has unfolded in my life. I discovered that both 1990 to 1912. That's when that movie like Stargate, like kind of based on. See the patterns, but it kind of looks like a DNA. Kind of looks like a sperm too. Like a DNA, you know, DNA, Series A, Series B. Okay. 2 linear extensions representing resolution of Series B around Series A. The diagram on the left is based on Dogon drawings. The projection of the right was calculated by Robert Temple. Okay, so I think I'm gonna read till this paragraph, and then I'm gonna stop, take a smoke break, and then I think I'm gonna start uploading one video at a time. I want to enable Flower of Life Emerald Part 2. Blah blah blah. 1999 were very important years. In fact, that period between those years was probably one of the most important periods ever in the history of Earth. I'll explain more about this and we go on. But briefly, in 1912, time travel experience began, as did experience between the extraterrestrial greys and humans. We will explain later. And 1990 was the first year that the central grid for our planet was completed, and many others events happened during this period. In fact, that the Dogon wall drawing pinpointed these periods could be considered clearly prophetic. See, that's when Generation X and all that, and a lot of UFOs were coming. If you look at videos in the 90s, there was UFOs, and my experience happened in 91, you know, and a lot of aliens were coming to this planet to check up on us, and I guess probably because something happened, you know, and they were coming to upgrade us and ascend us into a higher elevation of consciousness, and people were gonna like upload and do all these things. So thank you guys for watching and being patient. And if you guys enjoy this book, I'll definitely go get it, and I'm sure they have audio, you can hear it probably better reading than me. But see, right here we can like kind of, well, me, you know, talk to myself and have all these things. But I appreciate you guys, and I'm gonna take a break. Here we go.